Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So you decided to keep the beard, huh?
Well, not really. I'm just waiting for the music producer to get back at me, just in case I have to do a little bit of more green screen work.
Shh, it's a secret.
Don't tell anybody. Like Armageddon, soon. It's just around the corner, friends. Wait for it.
Yeah. So we've had some more stuff come in that we wanted to cover, and some interesting stuff. And I know several other YouTubers have covered some of this stuff, but we know that we have a few subscribers that only watch our channel, so that's why, we wanted to cover it.
Speaking of subscribers, can you explain to me the current phenomenon that's going on?
No, I
mean,
can't.
in the past 28 days, we've gotten over 500 new subscribers.
Yeah, like 567 or something
Yeah, it's
like
like
that.
what's going on with that?
Welcome.
Yes,
Welcome. So what do we want to cover first?
Well, there's a few things to cover. I guess you just pick out what you want to cover, and as usual, I'll just add the comic routine, because some of this is going to involve Watchtower. And the thing that I have to question is, how come Jehovah didn't warn you about some of this stuff? Like he warned you about 1914, being the end of the final end of the last days, the nanosecond, and that generation will not pass. Oh, that generation passed away and we're still here.
Afraid so, dear.
Yeah,
That's why they had to change it in 2010.
Exactly.
Yeah. So first, many have been covering in Spain what is happening. Watchtower is suing a Spanish Association of Victims of Jehovah's Witnesses. A lot of them are abuse survivors, and Watchtower wants to shut them up. And so they're trying to sue them and shut everything down. And it's like, we see that a lot happening in the world today, don't we?
Well, that's just par for the course.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll shut you down inside the congregation. They'll shut you down when you leave by making you bear the label of apostate. And now that there's an association or a group of XJWs coming together to sue Watchtower for the CSA, now they're trying to shut them down. But see, that's what I don't get, Kim. If these are the last of the final part of the last days, why does Watchtower even give two shits? Why do they care?
Well, for the same reason, somebody will confess something, and then when you speak out against it, then they file a lawsuit for defamation. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
It's the exact same thing. Even though they confess it and they admit it, they have to shut you up.
Exactly.
Or try.
So that's how this bullshit chess game is played. They have to cheat in order to win. They just cannot win an honest game of chess or an honest dialogue.
Yeah. So I will put the link to this article. This is an old one, and there's a couple of other new articles that I will put up. I know avoidjw.org has covered this for a while now, and I'll put the link to his article. And it's interesting because in the same article, right in the middle, it says, more info, a young Jehovah's Witness in critical condition after refusing a blood transfusion. So it's great to see some of these other countries exposing some of these religions and Jehovah's Witnesses for, the damage they are doing. Now, speaking of damage and what Watchtower does, I want to read an email that I had from a viewer. Thank you, David. No, not the David that sent me information about the blood. This is another David.
We know a lot of Davids, don't we?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think we know probably at least 10, 12 different Davids.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about like the phone message I got and said, "Hey, this is Joe. Call me back."
Which Joe?
Which Joe? You know, and back then we didn't have caller ID, so yeah. Hello, Kim and Mikey. Remember me, the stranger from Scotland, the retired cop? We communicated years ago and you narrated my story on one of your YouTube videos. I still follow your videos and keep up to date with most of the XJW world, with one exception. Thank you.
With one exception, we're not talking about Thailand, boy, are we? Hey, I said it.
I didn't. However, I had an incident described to me which I think is of note. And that's why I wanted to read this,
Yes.
because I want to show how much damage Jehovah's Witnesses can do, even in just a casual conversation at their carts, okay?
Well, not only that, look at the advice, not so much advice, but look at the conclusion that they actually draw to, which is bullshit. But the sad thing is every Christian denomination, I don't care who it is going to go to this conclusion. And I want to make a statement right here. I'm not the first to have acknowledged this, but we was watching a YouTube video here, maybe a week and a half ago or so, and the comment was made, and it was very profound. It wasn't from an XJW, it was from another YouTuber that I like watching. This person actually made the comment that the ego worships fear. Let that sink in for a minute. The ego worships fear. And that's why for a very long time I've been saying, let the fear go. Once you do, then you can recognize that you've been worshiping it. And unfortunately, Christians use this fear as a mechanism for the ego to worship.
Exactly. And I'll make some comments about that.
Okay, cool.
I have some to make after I read, finish reading this. However, I had an incident described to me which I think is of note. I keep in close contact with a family friend, let's call him Mark, a man in his mid-30s who suffers from mental health issues. Now keep that in mind. This is someone with mental health issues that doesn't need this Watchtower BS making things worse. Such as borderline personality disorder. He has periods of psychosis and hyperanxiety. He is under the care of psychiatrists and mental health nurses from his local health team. With the help of medication, he has a reasonable life, although has episodes of breakdown and now as well. And it's like, I feel for these poor, sufferers of these type of health issues. And it is real health issues, Watchtower. This isn't in people's minds, and they do need professional help.
Well, let me just interject something that I was watching this morning on the news. The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, professional wrestler turned actor. I think he just got his Star Walk of Fame, and he was signing his name in concrete and his handprints and his handprint in the concrete. But he also made the statement during this episode, during this situation, that he's really trying to encourage people with mental health issues to seek help. Don't turn to your religious world, because you're going to understand why by the time she gets to the end of this.
Yeah. Last Sunday, the 11th, September 2022, and sorry it took me so long to get to your email, Mark phoned me in a distressed state. Now think about the person that suffers through this, and medication is the only way to help them, and professional help. And something set him off and caused a distressed state. Now, David mentioned that he has hyper anxiety and psychosis. So imagine being set off by something somebody says. Wow. Okay? He had been speaking to Jehovah's Witnesses at the cart in the town center. Wow. Okay? It gets worse. Part of this conversation revolved around Mark's mental health and inner voices he was experiencing. We all experience these inner voices as part of our thought processes, but Mark has occasional difficulty rationalizing these voices. This bloody Jehovah's Witness, I'm trying to restrain myself here, stated to Mark that these inner voices were definitely the actions of demons.
Fear.
See? Even to strangers, they try to indoctrinate this fear. And I bet it went something like, you need our help and you need to study the Bible to get rid of those demons. Seen it our whole lives.
Yep. It's just a common Christian thread.
Yeah. On hearing this, I drove down to the town center, but the cart had disappeared. Probably very fortunate for me and the JW concerned. It took ages to calm Mark down and purge those stupid ideas from his head. Now, are Jehovah's Witnesses, even the elders, do they have any training for professional, psychiatric or clinical help? No.
No. Well, here's what I got a question. In a realistic world, what's the difference between hearing voices in your head and having a reoccurring nightmare? It's the same thing because it's all happening within that gray space.
Well, look at even the early Bible students and Rutherford and all the Jehovah's Witnesses back then said they were getting messages from Russell and from heaven, and even now, Jesus is leading them.
Yeah.
What voices do you hear in your head, Jehovah's Witnesses?
We're God's channel. Oh, so you're channeling the spirit realm. They don't get it.
Yeah. They do not stop and consider, even for a moment, the damage that can be caused by ignorant opinions stated as if they were facts, or do they just open their mouths and say anything to entice a new convert? Yeah.
Exactly.
They don't care about people. Thankfully, I have calmed down and I will not be visiting a nearby Kingdom Hall, but maybe with your experience, I would appreciate your comments or advice. You have my permission to use this email in any way you see fit. Thank you, David,
Thank you.
because it infuriated me. I mean, you can probably see I'm getting all red just because it makes me so angry that not only the rank and file Jehovah's Witnesses, but the elders, circuit overseers, watchtower, they all give advice that they do not have any real training to give. And even in the Kingdom Halls, look how many times we had elders' wives or someone just spewing stupid opinions and advice. And it's like, well, look at even when they were talking about what couples should be and should not be doing in the bedroom.
Absolutely.
Look at how many marriages that destroyed back in the early 70s. I know some of you newbies, and younger ones don't know about that. But yeah, I believe it was 1972. And the governing body, Raymond France, at the time had to come back and correct that because it was in questions from readers. Look it up. Because a lot of damage was done just by their stupid, and that was in an article. Oh, like I said, I get all riled. Okay, so the next thing we want to cover is Bitcoin. Now, I posted on social media a video where it was talking about the Bitcoin scheme that's going on right now in this country and how billions of dollars were lost. Now, that post was taken down because it was checked by fact-checkers to be not true. But yet we keep hearing it on the news and in articles and all of this.
Well, I think if you go to the channel Anything Goes, the guy that pulled off the Ponzi scheme admitted it.
Yeah. Now, it got me to thinking, and I asked Mike, and I've asked Atlantis, and I wish now I would have grabbed a screenshot and I've been looking for an elder's letter because I thought it was in an elder's letter.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, we're thinking it was in an elder's letter. So, if anybody has heard this, and I know several other XJW YouTubers have mentioned it and it's been on some of the forums, but I could have sworn that Watchtower said it was going to be using Bitcoin for buying and selling property since it was faster and easier to transfer.
Right.
So, which told me they were also going to be investing in it. And when you went to jw.org under the donations, I could have sworn cryptocurrency was in that list. Okay? Now, when I went to jw.org and clicked on donations for the United States, and you scroll down to worldwide work, and then you see the whole long list of things they accept. And when I seen it, I could have sworn it was under the non-cash donations. But when you open that up, it's gone.
Well, how is that any different than trying to steal your frequent flyer miles?
Yeah, well, they even have a
They have that
section there
scheme,
that
yeah.
says rewards points. So you can actually donate your rewards points to Watchtower.
I mean, these skip. Oh, religion. It's a snare and a racket.
It is. It really is. So, in light of that, hopefully YouTube won't come after us for me talking about this, since it's such a
Oh, well.
controversial.
Oh, well, I mean, hey, who isn't coming after us these days? You've got Watchtower, you've got Christians, you got ex-Jehovah's Witnesses coming after us.
Bible bullies.
Bible bullies, you might as well just have YouTube coming after us now. I mean, who doesn't come after this channel?
So anyway, we have way too much fun,
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So in looking for, because it's like, okay, I know I'm not crazy. I remember at least a year or two that, Watchtower was getting into Bitcoin, or there was some mention about them accepting donations of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, something like that. So if I find it, I'll do an update. But talk about the universe answering, because I just put in Bitcoin and Jehovah's Witnesses, and this article came up from the New York Times. And I'll put the link down below, because this was actually very interesting. So I started reading this, and I want to take the time and read this, because it you guys are, I was like, the universe, Holy Spirit, never deny it. The Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger. Okay, and they got a picture of YouTuber Danny DeHeck. It's H-E-K. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. From his home in New Zealand, the YouTuber Danny DeHeck assails what he calls a dangerous and deceptive scheme, one rant at a time. So another one that rants on YouTube.
Yeah, that's just a common occurrence, it seems like.
Yeah. Last year, Danny DeHeck was a social media guru badly in need of a social media guru. A buoyant New Zealander with geeky glasses, he dispensed advice about how to vastly expand your online audience to a group of just 350 subscribers. He earned a living by drop shipping electronics as he searched for ways to make serious money. Then in February, the husband of a friend sent the 52-year-old Mr. DeHeck an email crowing about a company that somehow guaranteed outsized and clockwork returns. Investors in what was known as Hyperfund, which is very similar in this country as Bitcoin. It has since been rebranded twice, could triple their money in 600 days. It is the best passive income retirement plan I have ever seen, the acquaintance wrote. Get in now, then sit back and watch the cash roll in. Yeah, wait for it.
Join Watchtower and you get to live forever.
Yeah. The message changed Mr. DeHeck's life, though not in the way his friend might have hoped. After a few days of looking onto Hyperfund, Mr. DeHeck concluded it was a scam, one that he estimates has attracted at least $1 billion by recruiting thousands of participants, some of whom put up as little as $300 or as much as $50,000 or more. By March, he had crafted a new online identity, Crypto Ponzi Scheme Buster. Mr. DeHeck has since denounced Hyperfund in more than 130 videos posted to YouTube, some of them nearly 2 hours long, lecturing viewers in a style that toggles between goofball and scold. Sounds kind of like us, huh?
Well, absolutely.
Now, I want to mention that some people had even mentioned about investing in Bitcoin to us.
Oh, yeah.
And at the
Oh, yeah.
time, he was out of work, and it's like, well, we don't have any money. But I even said, cryptocurrency, it's fake money. It's not real. I'd rather go to solid commodities.
You don't need to be a rocket scientist to sort that out, dear.
Yeah.
Anything electronic has the proponent for absolute failure.
Yeah.
Jeez, come on, people.
Yeah. Well, even our daughter, very intelligent young woman, her co-workers were even touting, Bitcoin, get involved, look at people are making money left and right with Bitcoin. And she told me the same thing. Mom, do they realize it's fake money? Internet, computers go down, guess what? Adios muchacho money.
Well, one well-placed EMP bomb and the whole game is over.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
Yeah. Going on with the article. When I looked into Hyperfund, to me, it just seemed black and white, Mr. DeHeck said during one of his several interviews from his home in Christchurch. Then I thought, I need to warn people about this. So here's a whistleblower. Another whistleblower that is speaking out on YouTube. And that's what's good about YouTube, is that it gives all of us a voice to speak out about this. And that's why I like to call all of these type of people light workers.
Light workers.
Because they actually care about what happens to other people and to warn them. Mr. DeHeck is one of the few voices flagging crypto-based Ponzi schemes, with U.S. investigators say are a severely under-publicized scourge. Even U.S. investigators are saying that. The past week has shown just how volatile the market is. One of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world, FTX, collapsed, and the industry is in meltdown.
Please tell me Watchtower was involved with FTX.
I hope
Please
they
tell
did
me.
invest in cryptocurrency, and I hope they lost millions. Amid that kind of uncertainty, many investors have decided that if their tokens won't recover from the steep drop in value that began last November, why not take a flyer on a company that sounds crypto adjacent? People are desperate, and out of desperation, they're giving it a go, Mr. DeHeck said. You probably have better luck buying Powerball tickets, or,
Well, at least you do. Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Daddy Moorbox. Jeez.
People are desperate, and out of desperation, they're giving it a go, Mr. DeHeck said. It's depressing because this is often a last-ditch effort. And it's a shame people are losing money now.
Yeah.
Except for Watchtower. I don't feel sorry for them. A Ponzi scheme, for those in need of a refresher, is an age-old fraud in which inflows of new money pay off earlier investors. Using cryptocurrencies does little more than lend the whole plate-spinning contraption a patina of the cutting edge. Hey, it's on the blockchain and makes it harder to pin down who is in charge. But the story ends the same way. Champagne for those at the top, tears for everybody else. U.S. investigators have busted a handful of crypto Ponzi's over the years. Among them is OneCoin, which was based in Bulgaria and which prosecutors allege brought in roughly $4 billion from investors around the world. The charismatic co-founder of that fraud, Ruja Ignatova, disappeared after the fund closed in 2017 and is the subject of an 11-part BBC podcast, The Missing Crypto Queen. Like I said, I'll put the link down below this article so you can read this. I'm going to skip some of this and go down to pertinent here. About halfway down. Mr. DeHeck is quoted as saying they were basically multi-level marketing companies. I hate them with a passion. I never let them in. Because he actually was, being offered to come in, and these people, it was just scams too. Okay, now this is why I wanted to read this article. To understand that passion and his mission to wipe out crypto Ponzi schemes, you need to know something about Mr. DeHeck's childhood. Wait for it. Like everyone in his family, he was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. From the age of 5, I was knocking on the doors of strangers, telling them that fires and earthquakes were happening for a reason, that the world was ending soon. See, He sees the pattern. He gets it.
See, that's the thing, friends. Recognizing patterns. That's how you can defeat.
Yeah.
99.9% of this is recognizing the pattern. And that's why I said earlier about the ego worships fear. Because there's a very distinct pattern involved with that.
Yeah. He recalled describing being taught that only believers will survive the imminent destruction of Earth. He eventually started questioning some of his beliefs, and at 23, when he confessed to a romantic fling, premarital sex was forbidden, church elders disfellowshipped him, as excommunication is called. Only later did Mr. DeHeck conclude that he had been raised in a cult. And then they have parentheses that says, the church disagrees. No Jehovah's Witnesses are not a cult. Is an answer to a frequently asked question on its website. Rather, we are Christians who do our best to follow the example set by Jesus Christ and to live by his teachings.
Follow the example of Christ. If this is the example they're following, then watch out. Who really is Jesus Christ?
To Mr. DeHeck, the way that hyper-fun investors talked about the company in chats and on YouTube videos was an eerie echo of what he had experienced as a child. Everyone in the Jehovah's Witnesses loves other members, and it's that sense of community that is the most precious thing to them, he said. Everyone in those HyperNation Zoom chats keeps talking about how much they love each other. And in both cases, there's no talking anyone out of their faith. For the Witnesses, it's faith in the Bible and end times. For HyperNation, it's faith in the blockchain. Yeah, and then he goes on to talk about how the HyperFun faithful have been severely tested. See, and this is what Mike and I have been saying, because they will leave one cult and join another. And when you take a sociology class in college, like our daughter did for several years, you learn that pretty much all culture, where the word cult comes from, is a cult. Any social structure can become a cult.
Well, that's the key. Can become. That's why you need to educate yourself and identify the patterns. Because once you start recognizing the patterns, then your spidey senses up here should start telling you, ooh, maybe I better back away a little bit.
Yeah.
Till you get a clearer picture of what's truly going on.
Yeah. Now I just want to scroll down where it's talking about Bitcoin. The new packaging didn't solve a larger problem. Last November, Bitcoin began an epic decline from about $64,000 a piece to roughly $16,000 today. Thousands of other coins are down 95% or more. With a crypto winter underway, it seemed impossible for HyperFun or its successors to keep paying rewards if they were truly the fruits of crypto-related investments. And we know what's been happening lately. You know, I know mainstream media isn't talking much about it, so you might have to go to YouTube and start clicking on some of these whistleblowers who are talking about Bitcoin and some of these other cryptocurrencies that are going down the toilet.
You might be a little surprised to see where some of that money's been funneled to.
Yeah.
I'm not saying another word.
Yeah. Exactly. But it's just a shame that a lot of people are putting, did put money into these thinking it was going to be their retirement account, and now they can't withdraw the money. It's sad. I feel sorry for the innocent victims. I really do. So, anyway, like I said, I will put the link down below. And I just thought it was interesting that this whistleblower on cryptocurrency just happens to be an XJW. So, anyway. Oh.
So is that about it? Did you want to say a little bit more about the worshiping of fear?
Yeah. So after that, and talking about Jehovah's Witnesses, how, they use fear tactics trying to reel people in, new converts, and look at the damage they did to this poor man that had mental health issues. And it reminded me of kids. Even in here, Danny DeHeck said something about giving kids nightmares of earthquakes and fires. We've all had those nightmares as kids about Armageddon. If you do not obey the governing body, the organization, the elders, Jehovah is going to kill you at Armageddon. Look at the fear that puts in little kids. And I know it's other religions too. Look at how many other religions have Sunday school for their little kids.
Indoctrination camps.
Yeah. How many of those Sunday schools are teaching little kids, oh, if you don't obey God, if you do something wrong, you're going to burn in hell? I mean, it just infuriates me because I feel so sorry for those kids. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness as a kid, so I know that fear, to where something happens and you're so fearful. I remember the Vietnam War. Oh, this was the beginning of the Great Tribulation. My parents couldn't get me to go to school. I did not want to leave home because I thought Armageddon was coming.
The Gulf War, it's the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
It never ends. I know.
Your dad, when he was dying,
that's why I
was
said
when
that.
the Persian Gulf War started.
That's why I said that.
He was so happy because he thought he was only going to be dead for a little while and be resurrected, because that surely was the beginning of the Great Tribulation. How many decades later?
They all worship at the altar of fear.
Yeah.
What the heck's the difference if you indoctrinate a child with the fear of Armageddon or the fear of going to hell? What's the difference? It's the same mechanism. It's the same pattern, friends. It's the same distinctive pattern.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, they don't realize what they are doing. What Jehovah's Witnesses don't realize the damage they are doing. That Jehovah's Witness that was in the town center with that cart probably didn't even think about that poor mentally ill man again. They didn't care.
I guarantee you they didn't even give it a second thought because it just sounds good parroting what someone else says.
Yeah.
It just feels good parroting. Polly, want a cracker? Roar.
Yeah. Exactly. So you can see why so many of us activists work behind the scenes to, get the governments and these courts and everything to see what Jehovah's Witnesses are really like and what they are doing. Just like this lawsuit against the advocates group in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
If
Armageddon's just a nanosecond away, watch out. Why are you wasting your time?
Yeah.
Why? Better yet, why can't current Jehovah's Witnesses see this? Why can't they see this? Oh, I know why. Because your devil, Satan, has blinded the mind, so the glorious good news that you're being scammed can't get through.
Yeah, because they're not allowed to go on the internet and research. Oh, that's apostate lies.
I just got to chuckle because it's so damn obvious, Kim. It is
I know.
so blatantly obvious.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate everything all of you do and for watching and your comments and emails. And we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Boy, I sure hope that music producer gets back to me soon.
So you
This is
shave?
getting pretty itchy.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
You're terrible.
Ain't I? I know it.
I know. You're going to have everybody like, what in the world is he talking about?
Yeah, what?
What?
Music producer? What? Mikey can't even carry a tune in a bucket. And I'll agree with that statement.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll hear back from him and then you can shave.
Yes, then I can shave.
Yeah. All of you have a great weekend.
Love yous. Bye.
Bye.